stay conservative, run the ball here on third down.
Here's Richardson. He takes it in for his first NFL touchdown. And Pittman takes it inside the 20, the 10, towards the end zone. Touchdown on 2nd and 28. The Colts capitalize. Richardson to Pittman, 39 yards.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Leroy. Got my guys Zach and Trev here with me. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Mine's been going pretty good so far. Not so good in college football, but anyways, it's going pretty good. How you guys doing this weekend, man?
Chilling, man. Just enjoying time off work. My LSU Tigers barely survived over there in South Carolina, but we got the W, and now just looking forward to Colts football tomorrow.
Man, how you doing, Zach?
Good. Had a weekend off for once instead of working, so I watched my Boilermakers get smoked by Purdue. I mean, curb stomped, or get smoked by Notre Dame, and then I'm watching.
Where was that last week, by the way, from Notre Dame?
I have no clue, dude. No clue. And then I'm watching the Miami Hurricanes beat the piss out of Ball State right now. So good time. Good time.
There we go. Love to hear it. But welcome back, everybody. Just another weekend of kicking with the crew. So let's go ahead and jump into it, man. Our Indianapolis Colts took the loss week 1 in the home opener versus the Houston Texans. 29-27 was an absolute nail biter. Teams fighting and clawing back and forth, man. Just getting through some of the keys of the game. Anthony Richardson had 2 major bombs. One went for a touchdown. Another one made a big play. Another big play to Ashton Doolin that went for a touchdown. Man, Jonathan Taylor had a rushing TD. Houston Texans on the other end, they had some big plays as well. One of Nico Collins also made some plays, as CJ does. Man, CJ was just legit. Came down to the stretch. Figured it would have been last team who had the ball would have got the win. And the Texans ended up being the last with the ball, man. They got it done. They got the win over us, or beat us in week 1. Did you guys have any takes or outlooks on the game as far as how things went down? What could have been?
It was really interesting. We talked about it a lot after the game. We're not used to our rush defense being the worst thing on the field. And last week against the Texans, it absolutely was. Our linebackers were nowhere to be seen. Nick Cross actually led the team in tackles and is like 3rd in the league in tackles right now because he had to constantly come up.
And I believe Julian Blackman was 2 behind him.
Yeah. See, so like the safeties just had to constantly cover for the linebackers and try to bring down Joe Mixon because he was just slashing us all over. He had like 30 carries, I think 130 yards, somewhere in that realm.
160.
160. There you have it. So he was just putting up video game numbers on us, and we're not used to seeing that. We're used to our front 7 being really the strength of our team, and then worrying about the secondary. Honestly, this past week it was kind of inversed. So it was definitely tough to watch that. However, at least for myself, I'm a little more optimistic. I think that's not going to be a huge problem moving forward. I think it's just one of those weird week 1 outliers that happened. I don't expect that to be a regular occurrence with the team. So all in all, like, the offense was pretty encouraging. Saw bits and pieces from guys that were very encouraging. Besides the rush defense, the weirdest thing to me was just how good CJ is at just like using our pressure against us. You would watch the edges collapse on CJ. You'd watch us get the pressure, and then he'd just step up, climb the pocket, or extend out to the sides wherever he could find an opening and extend that play and make that play on us damn near every time. So it was just one of those games, man. But like I said, saw a lot of encouraging stuff. We've gotten really used to starting 0-1 for the past decade, so it's not the end of the world, right? But unfortunate to take an L there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this next week. I think we got a lot of good things to look forward to.
Absolutely. What about you, Zach? Any key takeaways or anything that you want us to jump into?
Defensively, kind of a shocker, but overall, I'm not surprised. Houston made an effort to get CJ a lot of help this year, and you can tell that they've worked the pieces together. I mean, it sucks being on the losing end But when you play a high-powered offense week one and everything just clicks, sometimes you're the bug and sometimes you're the windshield. And sadly, Indy was the bug this week. So, I know we discussed in our podcast scheme, this, that, assets, not being properly supplied defensively with players necessarily and whose responsibility that falls on. But I also, in a way, kind of agree with Trev, being that it's probably a week one outlier. No real tape to go off of, no real habits, no trends to study. So when we see him again in week 8, we'll be probably more adjusted. We'll have things we can clues, things, there'll be tells. We'll know. Because every team has it, especially in this league. Like, no such thing as we're not. Like, every team has a tell. Houston will reveal theirs. One thing I was encouraged about is how explosive our offense was.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I know, like, the offseason, Shane straight up talked about we want to be explosive in the run and the pass. And absolutely, Indianapolis was. I literally have no critiques. I think AR's passer rating, 9 for 14 or whatever the heck it was, people were mad about.
Oh, you mean completion percentage?
Yeah.
His passer rating was absolutely legit. I believe his passer rating was like 86 from my
whatever it was. But the way I see it is what they don't tell you is the hidden yards that he gets you in the run game.
Yep.
Like, so I could care less if he completes 45%. If he's giving me 80 bones on the ground and then, 2 TDs, that's essentially a 4 TD day. Everything else is just gravy. So to me, with mobile quarterbacks like guys like Cam Newton, like guys like Lamar, like guys like AR, I completely, it doesn't matter to me. So that argument, but I was definitely excited to see how well the offense is because AR could have had a 4 touchdown game if he connected with AD twice. We're talking AD had a $150, 2 TDs. Pierce had a 71, maybe the craziest throw we've ever seen from a quarterback. 71 yards total, 65 and a half air yards. I mean, overall offensively, great game for the Colts. I have no complaints. Going forward, as long as the defense tightens up, pun intended, I think we'll be in good shape. I feel better about it after watching it a few times, going back through and seeing, because I kept an open mind when you guys were all like, yo, Gus called a good game. Gus really called a good game. I can't put this on Gus entirely. So I went back through and kind of watched it one more time and said, all right, situationally, what do you do here? Like, guys are professionals. So it all comes down to execution.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We got a few comments coming in here. Chris is saying here, what's good, fellas? What's up, Chris? He also said that CJ's ability to extend plays definitely worked against us. Got Hunter coming in here. He's saying, y'all better win. I got a polo ale on the Colts, man.
Hey, you and I both.
Yeah, man. We got to get it done, man. But y'all better beat Cleveland, though. So, y'all better beat Cleveland. So
it was interesting watching AR too, just piggybacking on what Zach was saying. Like, he started the game early, first football action in almost an entire calendar year. And there were several overthrows, several misses, one that resulted in an interception. Obviously, he missed AD when he was wide open, and that could have been a walk-in touchdown, right? So, like, early on, we were all, like, kind of on the edge, like, hey, what's going on here, man? He's a little inaccurate. He's kind of missing a couple. But it's like he warmed up into the game as he went. And then second half, he was just dropping dimes, hitting people deep. Like, he was doing everything he had to do. Ended the game with ridiculous stats. Like, it was just interesting watching him kind of grow into that game as it went and just get better and better as the game went on. I think this next game tomorrow, hopefully he just comes out swinging. He's already got a little bit of warm up now. He's just ready to go. But definitely a couple misses early. That'd be my only real critique of the offense. But it's like I said, man, he got away from that so quick. I expected it to just be smooth sailing.
Yeah, man. I think my takeaways were is that offensively, I have no worries. I have no worries
Yeah.
offensively about this team. I think on offense, I think we're going to be legit as I always thought we were going to be. And then as for defense, I was totally shocked on defense. I like you could damn near say shell shocked
Yeah.
is what I was as far as defense goes. Obviously, I knew our defense wasn't one of the best, but I was telling you guys, even when we discussed Joe Mixon, I was expecting about maybe 80, 90 total yard day, maybe even 100 overall, but split between passing and rushing. And it was just a complete opposite. We got legend on the ground. It was pretty ridiculous. There was some stats to go with it. I think when Grover Stewart was on the field, we were at like 4 yards per carry. When he came off the field, we were giving up 7 yards per carry. It was absolutely ridiculous. And it's not even like Joe Mixon had really a lot of big runs in there. These were just over and over repeatedly run down your throat, 5, 6, 7 yards a pop, and just kill you on the ground. Like I was completely shocked by it. I guess when we sit there and think about our front seven and think about our defensive line, we think about them being so good because we think about them as pass rushers. Our run defense wasn't necessarily what we were expecting, and I mean just our
Right.
interior. That's kind of what killed it for me. Um, but yeah, really wasn't expecting to see the way the Houston Texans did it. And the crazy part was they didn't get to that rushing game plan until about the second quarter when they were about to run out the clock. And the next thing you know, boom, they pop off 3 runs and they're damn near at our 40. And it was like we were just supposed to go to halftime. And then after that, we just opened up the floodgates on getting the ball ran on us.
Yeah.
Um, so there was that, man. And then just like both of you guys said again, just piggybacking again off of some of what AR did, I think, like you guys said before, I'm not really worried about his accuracy, like really at all. I mean, like you got a quarterback that's throwing, I think it was about 46% for the game total,
Yeah.
and we lose by 2 and almost drop 30. I really like people who worry about accuracy issues. Okay, right now, is he a better athlete than probably play by play quarterback? Okay, yeah, but I would definitely watch that get better because what he showed me, he showed you he could process well. His eyes are always going to the right place. He keeps his eyes downfield, and his processing is way better than a majority of the dual threat quarterbacks that I've ever seen. Like this is not
Oh
what I
yeah.
was expecting. Again, I tell you guys, like when I watched him at Florida, even like I guess those first few games were a little bit different. You'll see more athlete than you would see quarterback, but over time he got better and better down the road. And I'm seeing it even more now, just seeing him play. So the fact that we could be explosive, they've already discussed it and figured it out. You know, they need more longer drives, more sustained drives, better drives. I think a lot of that will help if you don't have receivers slipping on their routes. As
Yeah.
Trev brought up that interception, I caught that a little bit more of a slip than just an inaccurate throw from the interception. Could have been better, probably, but Granson slipping on that route kind of made that worse.
I just
And
wouldn't
then,
throw it to Granson. That's 2 times this year he's thrown it to
I
Granson.
mean,
It's been picks, bro. Like
yeah, man.
one's
I
in
mean,
preseason and one's in regular season. I'd be like, sorry, man. I don't care. You got to be wide open. I'm not chucking you the pumpkin.
exactly, but I even had that as a question for you guys as well on here. And we'll get to that in a little bit though. But yeah, so just plays like that. I thought the offensive line played pretty good. PFF kind of graded a lot differently than what I saw as far as me watching the game and what I saw on tape. I thought our pass blocking was very good. I thought our run blocking was suspect at best. But
It wasn't great. Yeah.
PFF gave them a really high grade. I believe we were number 2 overall offensive line, run and pass blocking. I think everybody had above
Interesting.
70, except for Braden Smith in the run. So,
I mean,
um,
it's not like they were just getting blown up, but it was still maybe a step below what we've come to expect from them. They weren't getting to the second level as much as we usually expect from them. Again though, I don't think a lot of the negatives that we saw are a sign of things to come. I think it's literally just guys getting warmed up. It's the first game of the season. It's just one of those things. So I'm not worried about our run blocking either. But I do agree it wasn't really up to our standard that we've come to expect from those guys.
Most definitely. They usually say defenses are more prepared than offense.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
would say offensive line wise, I know they changed their schema, a lot more gap schemes blocking from what I noticed instead of just zone and man on man. Like Indy would do a whole lot of gap and pin and pull. I mean, so I don't know if that's necessarily the next step. But the O line coach is, hey, last year was all fundamentals. This year we're going to install and lean heavy more into the scheme of being a gap runner because I mean you see it like with JT. JT usually is a guy who you can wash people down on that zone play, and then he's able to cut back and get. And it was more north and south with JT in this game. So it was literally like, hey, find your hole, hit the hole. So to me, it was a bunch of gap scheme, bunch of duo, real simple stuff. But at the same time, I feel like that's kind of what the vibe with the Colts are getting this year. Offensively, Shane wants to spread you out vertically, definitely taking deep shots. And once you're backed all the way up, then it's going to be, hey, JT up the gut. AR is going to push the edges and attack the edges of the defense, and JT is going to be really that blunt force trauma essentially to the belly of the defense. That's kind of, again, after 1 week, that's what I've noticed, that they're really going to use the quick screen game and or AR out on the edge, that speed, get his speed out on the edge, and really use JT up the gut. So just from watching what I've watching it back, the TV copy that I had, just watching it back and seeing that the Colts are basically going all north and south this year so far. So we'll see if that trend continues with Green Bay.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting too watching AR. He looked really smart about like knowing how much time, like being aware of how much time he had. You'd watch him, especially on his scrambles. I don't remember any designed runs being called for him. Like every scramble he'd check his options, he'd check who he had. If he didn't have his first or second read, he took off. And he was just very aware of the pressure around him. And that's something you really love to see from such a young player.
I want to say he had three designed runs, I believe.
Yeah, he had 2 zone reads, and one was like that fake draw or whatever it is on the end zone when they're like, "Yo, hey, we got to have it," and he.
Right.
Oh no, that wasn't a QB design run.
I thought that was an RPO where it was like if it's not there, then you can tuck it and like hit it on the draw kind of thing.
Yeah, so kind of, but it was supposed to be a passing scheme, so it was a mesh concept. And what was supposed to happen is Michael Pittman Jr. was supposed to get a rub off the linebacker, and when he got that rub, AD Mitchell was coming across to the left, so it was running that drag. And once that mesh didn't happen,
he just tucked it and ran it.
He kind of missed. Yeah, he just took off.
Fair enough. I ain't mad at it. I thought it was like an RPO. I thought it was either, hey, look at your first read. If it's not there, bro, you're 6'6". Go make money.
Yeah, and that's kind of what he did. It was very sharp, very very like intentional. He wasn't like, oh shit, what do I need to do? Let me just scramble out of trouble. He knew like, all right, my first option's not there. Maybe check to the second one, but depending on how much time's there, he just took off. And it's like you said before, very north and south. Not so much like Caleb Williams was doing, just kind of spinning around trying to create space. He just takes off and goes.
And that's exactly the part where I said about his processing. His processing was so fast on that play that he saw that as soon as Michael Pittman didn't get the complete rub on the linebacker for AD to be open coming across, he was already gone. Like
I straight up thought that was an RPO. Like it was, hey, look at your read and then take a step and go. I was like, damn, dude, that's the quickest RPO I think I've ever seen.
That was how fast the process that it was.
It's just very encouraging to see that, man, because he's still so young. So, like, we talked about in the offseason, like, he might struggle with some of the mental aspect of the game, this, that, and the other. I think, dude, I don't see that at all, man. He's so freaking sharp. We're going to see his accuracy improve, but his decision-making was excellent, in my opinion.
Dude played 18 games since high school. And you can't tell me that. No, dog.
Looks like he looks like he's one of these 7-year, redshirt quarterbacks that we talk about in college. That have 100 games of experience, dude.
I mean, there's still some areas, but that'll come with more reps. But that's
he's
crazy.
21, right? Like he's got so much time. 21, 22.
22 now.
Either
But
way,
he is for the second year in a row, he's the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL,
yeah, He's
including
already
rookies that are starting.
it's incredible.
Oh, that's not surprising.
Yeah, crazy. But we got a comment here from Dave Stewart. Let's not let these slide by. He says, hopefully one game does not define our defense. Time will tell. Samson sort of left us out of sight, out of mind. Someone needs to step up in his place. Well, I want to get kind of to this once we start talking more about the Packers. But I will say about the defense, hopefully one game does not let it define us.
Yeah.
I absolutely did not think it defined us. As sad and as disgusted as I was about our run defense, including the play of our linebackers, Zaire Franklin and EJ Speed, who I thought both played terrible.
They were trash, bro.
I will not let this define them. I think we have one of the best run defenses in the league. I think we just Houston, they saw that we were a little vulnerable making our rotations, which we do. Gus likes to do. He wants to make all those rotations. That's the way Ballard and everybody wanted to set it up. And Shane, we wanted to keep guys fresh, so we made a lot of rotations. Obviously, with Raekwon Davis, missing time with his high blood pressure that he had, didn't really give him the time necessary that he needed. So we had Taven Bryant on the field, who shouldn't be on the team. He was on out there getting some snaps. So that left us pretty vulnerable. But I tell you right now, I will not chalk that up on them as if this is what we should see all the time.
No.
Everybody knew that we thought our DBs would struggle. Held CJ to only 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and so I think that's more of the area where everybody thought we were going to get 400 dropped on our head. CJ was going to have like 8 touchdowns, something like that crazy. And it was the run defense. So I expect that to get cleaned up very quickly. And the more these guys play together, I think it'll get better. So
Yeah.
I think it'll just be that. And then, with Sampson being out, I think Quiddy had a really good day.
Yes.
He was double teamed about, I want to say 20% of the time. He had a pass rush rate of 33%, which was, I believe, top 10 in the league. I think it was top 7.
Pressure rate. Yeah.
I think we had some good signs. Just that running game killed us because CJ Stroud, like we saw at the end of the game, he's going to make those plays where you just gotta tip your hat to him and say, "God damn, you beat my guy."
That's why he's
right there.
Why he's who he is.
Indy's aggressiveness again. They know that Indy doesn't like setting the edge. They want to get downhill. They want to get after CJ, and they literally said, "All right, we're just going to run the stretch play off tackle. We're going to run wide zone, and we're going to force you to either walk your safeties down and hit the heavy box, or you're just gonna give up 5 yards a pop." And we gave up 5 yards a pop because we didn't want to give heavy boxes to CJ, knowing that the back end would be a liability.
And that's the tough part too, is because like you already know CJ is going to be surgical in the pass game. Now the fact that you allow him to have a run game that's efficient, that just makes it even worse.
It's so hard. So hard.
Pick your poison now, bro.
And I will say again, the part that kind of disappointed me was Zaire Franklin talked a lot, and then there was a couple plays where he on that one of those key first downs that went to Nico Collins, Zaire Franklin did not stay in his rush lane. He let CJ break the outside contain, extend the play. Nico was able to get open and hit him for that first down. So just want to make sure everybody are reminded when we see these plays, you got to have context. You got to know what you're watching. It's never just as simple as we think.
And let's remember too, man.
I think we'll be better, Dave.
Yeah, the pass rush was really incredible, man. You talk about the pressure rate that Quiddy alone got, but Taekwon got in there too. We sacked CJ a couple of times. We pressured him most of the game. Throughout the entire game, we're getting great pressure. The problem was they did really good at countering that, using those stretch plays, using those draw plays to mix in. And that's really where you look for Big Grove and Zaire and EJ to clean it up. And unfortunately, last week they just weren't able to do that effectively. So that's what led to them just killing us on the ground. But every team's not going to be able to do that, and every team doesn't have CJ who's able to extend plays like this. So as long as that pass rush keeps doing what it's doing, man, we're going to eat quarterbacks alive.
Yeah, for sure. Then we got to be better in those rush lanes. We know Trevor Lawrence loves to get out of the pocket on those routes too. So Dave Stewart also said AR's bullets are dueling. That was absolutely
Beautiful, dude.
beautiful.
Tight window too.
Demetrius
Tight
Dillon
window.
saying, no, he just took it. It was a pass. Yeah, he's talking about the AR play in the red zone to get us back in the game. He also says, salute, Colts Nation, salute to y'all. Appreciate you, man. I think you are a new commenter. Never seen your name in here before. He also says, just believe it's week 1. Nothing too much to panic over.
Happens, bro.
So, yeah, man. Yeah, so I just think, like Zach had said before, man, like, you know, when he went back to watch the tape, because a lot of us, and I say us just as Colts Nation because I don't believe everybody believes the same thing, but I think that a lot of the stuff that we had on defense, like I said before, I thought we were talented enough to go ahead and, you know, we could run our scheme and play against them. And I thought our corners played a really good game. Jalen Jones and Juju Brents, I thought they played a really solid game. You know, obviously Nick Cross and Juju got beat on one of those plays, the deep one to Nico Collins. But I think outside of that, you know, it was an efficient day for CJ just because we couldn't, you know, force more completions and stuff. But if you even go back and watch CJ's pressure, he sat there and told everybody, you know, Indy played this game a lot different. They were showing a lot more different coverages. They were getting after him. And, I mean, you know, CJ is becoming one of those quarterbacks that you really just got to respect. It's kind of like playing against Mahomes. It's like you don't really want the ball in the guy's hands because he's just going to make some plays. And you're like, God damn it.
That's what he does.
Like,
dude.
I mean, there was the one play he had, I think it was like 2nd and 10 or something like that, and dude slips. He's on one knee and throws it for a first down. I mean, like, it's just like, God damn, some plays you just, you know, the guy just gets you. But yeah, I thought from what I seen Gus calling and everything, I thought it was a lot more mixtures and stuff like that, putting pressure on CJ, putting him in different situations. And I think on a couple of the times that we should have got to him, our rush just didn't get home on the play, or we let him break contain. So I think there was a lot to just to clean up on our side of this perspective, more so than I think that it was just some letdown.
Man, and just as far as the secondary goes, that Dave actually comments exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Tough call on our pick that the hit the sideline.
I'm gonna let you go, Trev, but I'm not gonna lie. I think that call was bullshit, dude.
It did kind of look like his toe might have hit before the heel. I don't know, but he was in there, right? But you look at that, right? We had that, and then on the other pick that we got, there was a defensive hold. So it's 2 picks that the secondary did force that unfortunately were just overturned.
Timeout.
Yeah.
Where was that defensive hold? Who did they call that holding on? Did they call it Kenny?
Jalen Jones in the back of the end zone.
There was like 2 separate holds as well.
He got into the scramble drill, right? So here's our end zone. Tank was about right here at the hash.
Was at the corner.
CJ got out the pocket. Tank turned around and ran towards the back pylon, and Jalen grabbed him.
Okay,
it was a hold. It was, to be fair, it was a hold.
Right.
But I'm just saying to the secondary's credit, because I think a lot of us were fully expecting those guys to be Swiss cheese, and I don't think they were. Man, they got beat fairly often, but they also won plays. It was really up and down the entire day, so it was better than I think a lot of us expected. Unfortunately, we have lost Juju Brents for an extended amount of time, very possibly the entire season. And that's
the
just,
entire season.
Yeah, that's just super, super disappointing because I thought he played decently well. And that's just it could be worse timing for the guy, man, but that's where we're at with him. But I thought Jalen Jones really had a good game. There was one play he had the pass deflection. He was the only guy back there, single-handedly saved a touchdown. He had a couple breakups, a couple just really good coverages. The play that ended up winning them the game
was
getting the first down
coverage.
It was beautiful coverage, man. And it was just
I thought he had a PBU.
I don't know how he got it, man. I don't know how he caught it, but it was one of those plays. It's like you say, you got to tip your cap because Jalen Jones covered it perfectly, man. He really had a decent game. So it was one of those plays.
I thought it was a PBU. Ball came down here, just missed it.
Perfect throw beats perfect coverage 10 out of 10 times. I mean, it's inevitable.
But I say all that to just say this, man. I saw enough from the secondary to where I'm a little bit optimistic. I think they're not going to be as much of a liability as we were maybe expecting. And we're not going to play CJ 16 more times, right? We're not going to play him every week of the season. So tomorrow we're playing Malik Willis, maybe Sean Clifford if they call him up or whatever. I expect him to have a really good day.
Back
They
up.
ruled out Love.
What's up?
They ruled out Love. Love is
Yeah.
doubtful.
Yeah.
Willis is the starter, and Clifford is the backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, and neither one of those guys is even in the same breath as CJ Stroud, right? So look for tomorrow to be a day that the secondary really tries to make some plays.
For sure. Dietrich is saying we could have won that game, just bad run defense. But yeah, man, Dave, I just had to comment on this one, man, because I thought this call was absolute bullshit. I thought it was horseshit, dude. Just because of the fact that so Dave Stewart saying here, tough call on our pick that Hill hit the sideline. I just thought it was crap because if a receiver does the toe drag, you know, you get 2 feet, boom, you catch it, and then you're just on your tiptoes on the sideline. That's ruled a catch.
Yep.
If you get 1 foot and drag the other toe, that's ruled a catch.
Yep.
So what is the difference between if you get the ball, he catches it, he has his right foot planted on the ground, his left foot, his toe is absolutely touching the ground before his heel touches out. Why is that not an interception? Like I thought that was bull crap call. Thought that should have been ruled an interception. It could have changed the game for us because we were going literally for us, we were going 3 and out or we were going touchdown. Like it was really, and the game came down to who had the ball last, in my opinion, what I think it was going to be. And we were going score for score, and I just thought that call was crap. I don't like it. I feel like the NFL needs to get this guideline down on the whole catch sideline. When you need a toe, if you need a toe, if we're going to call the toe,
it's not consistent.
Do, it's not at all, and I thought it was crap. So,
and I believe, like, with the explanation they gave, they called it to how the rule is. But to me, that's an inconsistent rule with, as you said, like the wide receivers. It should be the same for anyone catching the ball. If you get your toes in, what is the point of calling it a toe tap if it doesn't matter if the toe's tapped, right? He taps his toes and then his heel steps. But he should have already had possession of the ball, and then he's just going out about. Like I don't understand that rule. So hopefully the league takes a look at it because I agree that should have been a pick. Hey, DeMarco, I think your mic might have cut out, brother. I seen you talking. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, he said the booth announcing from the ref, it goes toe to heel. Whole foot needs to be in. If the rule should be changed, any receiver gets toes, it's in. Yeah, exactly. I think that call is crap. Zach, I think you might have been waiting here to comment on one. Your dad is saying here, stop. What are we talking about?
No, I just shot him a text.
I think he might be talking about our corners versus their receivers. I think he might have not liked the way they play. But yeah, so I just think that call was kind of crap. But yeah, man, either way, I thought the Colts played a hell of a game. I thought anywhere that we thought were going to be kind of the worries was not the worry. And really, if we fix our run defense, I think we could have a hell of a team here. And Josh Downs is coming back healthy this week.
I'm going to get in and speak on this. Reporting, first off, Dad's having technical difficulties, so I didn't let him say the first half of what he wanted to. It just said stop. So we're fine. Keep going.
We're stopped.
My second half is just when I went back and watched it, I felt like the Colts did much better when they were pressed up against these corners than they were able to get their hands on these guys than they were when they were asked to truly play like that true cover 3 drop zone 3-step drop crap.
8 to 12 off.
Yeah. Like if Indy, I am concerned because I know in the presser they asked Shane about, hey, is Kenny going to slide outside? Like, if Kenny Moore plays outside, I am curious because that's the one thing. This is another team that has 3 really good receivers in Romeo Doubs and Wicks and Watson.
Reed, Christian Watson.
Yeah, Reed, Christian. There's 4. I mean, this is another team that has 4 really good guys. So I am curious to see, hey, coach, let them play press more, like let them be in that 3-yard area where you can press a guy and then you got to let them dip. I just felt like when Indy applied pressure to Houston, both receivers coming off their routes and in their stems, Indy fared better than they did versus just dropping straight back. So
Yeah, no, Zach. I think you got a really good point there, and it's kind of like one of those situations where like when they say like when a team drafts a quarterback, right? Are you going to force that QB to learn your system, or are you going to do what that player does well? And I think that goes to show what you're saying about Gus. We've drafted corners that are long, rangy. They like to get their hands on people, just like you were talking about before with the Kenny Moore situation. We've called up
Chris Lamons.
Womack.
Yep.
I'm forgetting his first name. But Womack, he's also a corner that said before he loves to press. He said he'll press all day, and we're going to be playing zone. So, I totally get what you're saying. And I think that if we play more to our corners style, that could fit us a little bit better.
Jalen's hyper aggressive, like Rocky Sin throwing it way back.
Yeah.
He was a press corner that they never used press wise, and that's why we get the PIs all the gosh darn time when he was in Indy. So that's my thing. Like if they allow the Colts receivers to press, or if they allow the Colts DBs to press, I really think they'll have more success in the back end. It's just what kind of Gus are we going to get this week? In my opinion, are we going to get country cover 3? Are we going to get a lot of because versus CJ, the Colts rotated late. They really made it difficult on him. I can't fault him. I can't fault Gus as much as I could earlier in the week. Like I was hot mad at Gus. I was like, this zone system is trash. But going back and watching it, they're better than Gus called a decent game. So I really can't be too mad. It's just, are you going to play to your player's strength? And I really think the Colts have 3 legit corners who are great getting their hands on a receiver and messing up the timing that way.
Yeah, and it's even consistent with what we saw last year, man. The times where our secondary looked the best was when Gus allowed them to go and press guys and like you're saying, just get dirty with them a
play
bit.
some man, play man press cover 3.
Yeah, that is when our secondary specifically has looked the best. And I understand that's not usually in Gus's regular scheme, but that's going to be a big thing to watch as the season develops is how much is Gus willing to kind of go outside of what he's used to. And like you said, play to these guys' strengths, allow them to get their hands on people, allow them to press on people. Even Dave comments here, like the wide open touchdown they had, we're dropped back in zone coverage in the end zone instead of just pressing guys at the line and trying to force them out or what have you, right? And we were way too late getting over to the guy that I don't remember who ended up catching that touchdown, where he was just wide open.
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs touchdown, where no one was anywhere near him, right? Like, I 100% agree with everything you said, Zach. Like, it's going to be interesting to see if Gus can allow these guys to play to their strengths, press receivers at the line, and live with the results in the end, right?
Which that type of touchdown has been a real reoccurring theme as well. You guys remember Puka Nacua with the Rams getting that wide open one in overtime. It wasn't necessarily at that same goal yardage, but I mean, we're so off. Like our linebackers are never even in the screen.
No, they're 5 yards off the ball.
Like, what are we doing in that moment, dude?
Yeah, they're 5 yards off the ball, and then they're dropping 12.
Yeah.
Like it's like where are you going, dog? Like
there's nowhere that you can continue to drop back there. We're in the end zone, bro. That's if nothing else, dude. Press there. I'd like to think a part of the reason that we haven't in the past is just because of our poor safety play. So it's like you have to drop back with your corners because you don't have any guarantees that the safeties are going to be able to be that last line of defense. But with what we saw from the safeties, who I believe played decently well, obviously they had to come up and run support way too often for our liking. But I thought they had a decent game other than that one deep ball that Cross led up. Maybe that can allow us to play more press coverage, and then I think the defense looks entirely different if that's the case.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys, man. I think you got to adapt.
I'm going to speak just for 30 seconds. Honestly, I thought Cross played a better game than Blackman. Like, is that fair to say?
Do you mean better as in his play or just more visible?
Better in his overall play.
Okay.
Because, Cross, he was all over the place. Cross is an eraser. Like, and I know they asked him to do that this week, or Houston essentially forced him to do that. But, like, in my opinion, Blackman kind of shot away from contact at times. Blackman had a couple tackles he could have went and made, and he was all like, and let the. So while yes, Blackman's better in coverage, I also felt like he had a lot of second chance opportunities to limit the yardage, and he made a couple of business decisions. I mean, I don't know if he's going to.
I think that's fair.
Play.
I think that's fair.
I know he's hurt, but
I think he might have been. It could possibly been easing off because of the shoulder. I mean, like Trev said before, Nick Cross is leading the league, I think, with 14, 15 tackles, and Blackman was right behind him with 12. So he could have been easing off maybe. But I thought both played, decent games as far as it went.
For what the game was.
And I think they were having to tackle way too much. Was part of the problem there. Is maybe why you could say that Cross had a better game than Blackman, because he was playing more of that box safety kind of trailing through the box there in that zone coverage, or however he was playing his run fits. So I think that could be why. But overall, I thought both had decent games, outside of the one that we let up deep with Cross.
It was kind of just unfortunate for Cross, because it's like he had good numbers at that game, and he did well collapsing on the run game and making those tackles. But unfortunately, like, that is not the game we need him to be playing if we want to be a winning football team, right? Like, that is entirely – he was basically coming up and doing Zaire and EJ's jobs for them, because they were kind of nowhere to be seen last week, being real. So as decent of a game as it was for Cross, that's not really the role we want him to be playing down the line. So it's like, good job, but let's try not to do that ever again.
For sure. I'm going to get to some of these comments real quick here. We'll get a word from our sponsor, ZTV, and throw in the ad there, and then we will jump to the second half of this show, getting into the Packers versus the Colts, just because we were at the 40-minute mark. So Joshua Merchant here, I've been telling people once AP had a QB that could throw the ball, he would be fine. Absolutely agree. Detrius is saying here we have the talent in Indy. That's what I've been saying. I am a little worried that we did lose Juju Brents, because we all were worried about them being young in the first place. So now we're kind of going to some depth. I'm hoping that we'll get into it in a second, but I like the addition of Womack. I'll just say that. David's saying here we still are playing off a few yards in the end zone when teams are inside our 10. They catch before we can catch them in the end zone. Yeah, it's got to stop. You want to stay up in those guys' passing lanes. Josh is saying here pass rush look great in his opinion. That was a comment to Dave. Dave Stewart said press knocking receivers off their routes is why you have big receivers or big corners. Yeah, absolutely. And I think you want to have that anyway, just because in this league, what do you need? You need more time to get after the quarterback. So if you're only letting the quarterback sit in the pocket for about 2.5 seconds, there's no rush to be seen if they're getting the ball off. So you want to come up and get those guys. Dietrich is saying, I totally agree. Let's be physical in that area, and honestly, the whole game. And then we got Horseshoe Mob podcast. That's from Josh and Chris. They've been shooting our stuff around just like I've done there, so appreciate you guys. So let's go ahead and get to it. We got the new merch. Go check out ZTV online. They're going to have the new merch out there. You can get cups, hats, shirts, T-shirts. You can check out our merch. We'll have Kicking with the Crew. Even have our new logo on there as well. We got scorestream.com. Go check out all your streams. Got games on there. Anything, follow your team. Keep up with them all. Go check that out as well. Got On Point Golf. I know a lot of people right now golfing these days, so go check out all the stuff they got there. Go see what you like. Might find some great stuff. Again, shout out to ZTB. Go check out Lemmy Attorneys, Kentucky and Indiana. I know everybody needs one every once in a while. You're going through some stuff. Go get an attorney. Go get that checked out. Whatever you need. And lastly, we got 23wines.com. I don't know if Trav and Zach are wine drinkers. I'm not too much myself, but I'm pretty sure you guys can go check these out.
I have to give it a try, man. 23 wines. Right up my alley.
There we go. And then so let's go ahead and jump into it, man. So yeah, we got the Colts versus the Packers, week 2. the Packers are headed to Lambeau Field. Luckily, we were heading there in September and not something like December or January, so we won't have to deal with too much snow and cold, stuff like that. So, really wanted to get into this, man. I just want to throw some things out there, just real quick to bounce off of you. So, a couple things that I've seen that I think would be good for us. I know some people were talking about will Kenny Moore play outside. I do not believe Kenny Moore should play outside. I think it's stupid to sit here and say that the Packers have a great slot wide receiver who we think should be the biggest threat for this game plan, because Malik Willis isn't the best passer, that we should game plan for a read and move Kenny Moore out of the slot. I think that's crazy. You got a great slot corner. Let him play with that great slot receiver. I think Womack should be the guy outside. I know he's coming up. We'll obviously have Rodney Harrison, who we just called back, put him on the practice squad, and called him up for tomorrow's game. He will be playing strong safety for us. Yes, strong safety for us.
They're going to have him playing strong safety?
Yes, that's where he fits better. We don't want him playing free safety, dog. We don't want him playing free. Strong safety.
The Nick Cross rule.
Yeah. He what's the name? He got that interception playing strong safety. We don't want him out free. We don't want him out there roaming. And so those were a couple things that I had for the defensive side, and then just a little something that I had for the offensive side. I think it's a time. I think we should feature Drew Ogletree at the tight end spot, just as something on offense. I know that's not our biggest worry, but I think that's something that I do like better. Not necessarily as a route runner, but I just think as a better overall tight end, bigger target, better blocker. Just something that I had in there, a few things. Anything you guys wanted to chime into that, or anything you guys are specifically looking for versus Green Bay tomorrow?
Attack that middle of that defense. Like, I don't know who their Mike linebackers are, but I know they're, Gray and Smith are their edge rushers, and Clark is their big nose tackle. But, like, whoever the middle of their linebackers are, make them cover the tight end. Make them cover downs. Make them attack that middle of that defense so we can really expose and get them, in one-on-one situations and use the matchups to our advantage. Secondly, I want to be more physical on defense. Like, first half I said, play press man. Play a lot of press cover 3 behind it. Press outside and play cover 4. I don't care, but get your hands on the receivers. Don't give no free releases. Nothing's free. Everything's earned. No free releases. And then last but not least, if Kenny does play outside, next man up on the inside, because I would much rather, if Kenny excels on the outside, cool. Then we got a dude in Womack who can played nickel in San Francisco. And if he does well, the more the merrier. Like, if Kenny does play inside, I want no targets, no catches, nothing. Like, be a blanket. Like, force Malik Willis to be uncomfortable. For me, this game is essentially the quickest way to make Green Bay one-dimensional. That way they don't consider even throwing the rock, because they can't. That's all I hope for.
I kind of agree too. I think it's interesting. I want to leave Kenny on the inside at the nickel, because I think this is a good opportunity for us to see who else we have in the outside corner game. Because this is a game where we don't expect their passing threat to really be that effective against us. And I don't want to jinx that. It is the NFL. Everyone's a pro, but let's be real. It's Malik Willis, right? Like, we don't expect him to be able to tear us up through the air. So this is a good opportunity to get Womack or Lemons or whoever else on the outside, get them real game time, and let them play on the outside against really solid receivers, and just kind of see what we have there, right? And their greatest threat probably is that slot receiver outside of the run game. So we want our best corner, being Kenny Moore, to be in that matchup. So that makes perfect sense to me. I think it's interesting too, because obviously they have Josh Jacobs, who is incredibly talented, one of the better running backs in the league, right? And right now, after week 1, if they haven't done their homework, the numbers would suggest that they can run the ball against the Indianapolis Colts. And I don't think that's the case. Like I said earlier, I think the rushing yards we gave up was a week 1 outlier. So I'd be very happy if they expect to come in and just hand Josh Jacobs the ball 35 times and win the game. As good of a running back he is, I'm not trying to disrespect him, but I do think if, like Zach said, we make them one-dimensional and they have to just run the ball because they have no passing attack, I think we eat this game up pretty quickly. I think that's a matchup that 100% favors us. Then on the flip side, right, offensively for us, they have a solid defense. They don't have anything that really scares me. I think the Texans have a better defense, and we put up 27 points on them. So I honestly, quite frankly, I expect a really good day from AR in the offense. I expect a better day from JT than what we had last week. He looked all right, but not the high yardage and touchdowns and everything that we expect from him. So I think JT can break 100 this game, and just look for AR to continue to progress. But I think the matchup kind of favors us on both sides because, unfortunately for them, obviously Jordan Love is out for this game. So that really opens up our opportunities for us to do damage.
Yeah, man. So I'm going to go ahead and just read some stuff off for you guys. Just a little bit here, just because I see we got some questions in the comments. Dave Stewart is saying here, was Josh Jacobs on the injury report someone posted on Facebook? That's the only time I heard of it. Joshua Merchant saying, what about Will Mallory? I think he's got to be kind of a guy that starts to become active every week first. And then David is saying here, unlucky to lose last week, hoping the last can bounce back with a win. Absolutely. I think this should be a week that we can do that.
I haven't heard anything about Josh Jacobs.
So I'm looking right now. So it looks like they had a pretty decent list here. They got Corey Ballantyne, Kenny Clark, Edgerrin Cooper, Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd, Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, and Quay Walker are on this list here. And then pretty much most of them have been either limited or full practice throughout the week. Josh Jacobs has an injury going on with his back. He was limited all week, but he's not listed as questionable for the game, so he should be good to go. Jordan Love is obviously going to be out. I don't know why the Packers keep playing around with that and saying, he's questionable, he's not off or whatever. He's the only one that's doubtful. And then you have Jalen Reed and Marshawn Lloyd. Marshawn Lloyd has a hamstring. Jalen Reed has a calf and a shin. Most of the week, Jalen Reed is not listed, as it says on here. Limited practice on Friday. Marshawn Lloyd was limited all week, and both of them are questionable. And then, Zach, to answer your question real quick there, it was the linebackers were Quay Walker, Quay Walker, Eric Wilson, and Isaiah McDuffie are their linebackers that they got over there. And then my kind of things is like I don't really think this is a very good defense. They've been rated very, very poorly over the last 2 seasons. They switched DCs last year, going from what they had before. I'm forgetting his name, something Barry, I think, was their DC last year. Moved over to a college DC this past season, and the Eagles still did the same thing to them. They were still getting last year. So I don't think this defense is very good overall as far as points giving up and yards. But I do think they have some playmakers. They got the names on defense. Personally, I'm going to be honest with you guys. They got the names on defense. I just think they still struggle for whatever reason it is. But I do think the quite opposite from you, Trev, as far as it goes. I think Preston Smith, Kenny Clark, and Rashawn Gary are 3 game wreckers. I think they can make a game ugly real quick for you as well. And then the guys on the back end, I think Jair Alexander, very good corner. I do think we got a guy in A.D. Mitchell that can kind of give him some struggles just because the way he plays. I think that's kind of a battle for him. Eric Stokes is a solid corner. And then the guy that I wanted Indianapolis to go after heavily, I would never let this go. I will not, is Xavier McKinney, who already has an interception from week 1 off of Jalen Hurts. So I do think they got some spots on this defense that we can target and get after. So like I said before, Trev, they do give up yards and points, so I don't know why they struggle, but they really got the names to be there's a lot of first rounders on this guy.
Yeah,
I don't know why they struggle, but they do. And then we go back to why I think this game should be key for us. They struggle against the run. Their run defense is terrible. It's been terrible, stays terrible. I think that's really something that we can harp on, is being able to run the ball, not turn it over. And then their quarterback is Malik Willis, you guys. I mean, this guy, he has like a career 40% passing. He has, I think, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
He's destined for the XFL.
If we can't make this guy look bad, I'm ready to pack the house away. I know I gave Gus a pass last week for our run defense, just because I thought he called a pretty good game. But there's absolutely no reason at all, unless we just stink it up on offense, that we shouldn't dominate this game with being able to just run the ball and play good defense. Because of the fact that they're starting Malik Willis, and then a guy they just cut 2 weeks ago in the preseason is Sean Clifford. There's no reason that we shouldn't be able to handle these 2 quarterbacks. That's why I think this game should be in hand, done handedly. But like I said, if we play a bad game on offense, they got enough players on defense that can muck it up. And then they do got some playmakers on offense, as these guys already stated here. I think you got to stop Josh Jacobs in the run game. Jalen Reed is a playmaker. I don't think it's necessarily the passing game that we have to worry about with him. It's those jet sweeps. It's anytime he gets the ball in his hands as a punt returner, as a kick returner. I think he can make a game ugly for you. And then obviously with Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, I think they're 2 good receivers. Also Dotavian Wicks. I think they're all very good receivers. And if Jordan Love was playing, I did have us losing this game just because I think their receivers just match up. Like there's so many. It's not keying in on one guy. It's just
they can spread the ball.
It's like playing Ninja Fruit Slice. It's just they can hit you with paper cuts all over the place. But without Jordan Love, I just think there's no way in hell outside of a major collapse, which again, I will not accept.
No.
That we should not lose this game.
Yeah, I 100% echo that sentiment, man. I mean, and look, you never hope for an injury for anyone, right? It's super unfortunate that Jordan Love is not playing because we want to beat the best and we want the best to be available for us to beat them. So obviously that's unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? He's not out there. Malik Willis is. As you said, there's absolutely no reason we shouldn't dominate Malik Willis. We have a good enough defense. We have the pass rush to make him uncomfortable. And hopefully the secondary can kind of benefit from that well, as being able to force Willis into bad decisions, get a pick here and there. I do kind of worry about offensively Jair Alexander. I could absolutely see him baiting Richardson into a pick or having some breakups, something. Like I do think that's an area where they can have an impact. By no means am I writing off the Green Bay Packers. They're a good team. They have a good roster. They're just without their leader, which is why I feel like this game is incredibly favored to us. But they still have game records all over the field. So I don't want to come off as arrogant like this game's over already. It's not. We still have to do our job. We still have to do the things we need to do. But as long as we do them, we should be able to win this game pretty handily. Just because, like I said, unfortunately, they don't have their quarterback. I really expect a big day for our defense, man. Like Malik Willis he's just not on the NFL level, bro. Like I don't want to be disrespectful in my comments, but this is not an NFL quarterback, and we have an NFL defense. There's no way we don't pick this guy off. We don't make him fumble the ball. We don't sack him a couple of times. Like that's what should be in store for tomorrow. So I agree with you, man. If that's not what happens tomorrow, we have serious issues to address.
We do. And I did not mention anybody from their offensive line. They don't have a lot of big names. They got Elton Jenkins. That's about it that most people would really know. But they really struggle in the run and the pass as far as the offensive line goes. So it's not necessarily something you want when you got a young quarterback like that. So, I think those are just quite a few things we could take advantage of. What about you, Zach? What you got?
I am concerned with Green Bay, maybe a little differently, because, they still have Matt LaFleur as head coach and play caller, and he's on that level with Shane Steichen. I would put him maybe a tier above Steichen as a play caller.
Great coach.
Obviously, he's a couple tiers ahead. In my opinion, he's a top 5 coach in the NFL, LaFleur. So there's that. If there's one guy who I believe, can get magic out of Malik, it is the situation he's in. I want to see more from Indy being, this is a statement game. So, I want to see them come out, get the frying pan, and just beat the piss out of the Packers. Yeah. From the moment you step on the field to when it hits triple zeros. Like, there are certain teams and certain matchups that I just feel like we match up really well with them. This is one of those teams. Like, in the AFC, I truly feel like the Colts match up really well with Kansas City for whatever reason. We have recently since Mahomes.
Always have.
Always have. I really feel like it's the same way with Green Bay. We always play them well. We always play them tough. We typically win. So in that aspect, I really feel like this is a game where it's going to be frying pan, meat face, and let's get it done. And this is one of those. I would love to tell you, yo, hey, Colts win this 30-3, 37-3. You know, like, I see no reason why the Colts offense can't put up 30, 35 points, whether it's all on the ground with AR running and JT, and we get the running game going and Downs and AD get it, or if it's a combination of both. I fully expect a pick six at this game from somebody on the Colts defense. I don't care who. I want one. Sacks, at least 3. Yo, you set the standard last week with 4. You set the standard last week with 4 against arguably a top 5 quarterback in the league. That's, to me, 3
this
sacks.
Is a bottom 5 guy. Yeah.
This is 3 sacks against a questionable offensive line. They have a really solid left guard, and then everyone else is really young and unproven. So, I mean, to me, 37, at least 37 points. That's what I'm hoping for. I want points in the 30s, and I want a pick, a couple sacks, and just pure domination. That's what I'm hoping for.
I think this will be a really interesting measuring point for the Colts too, because you go back to last year, right? We have had games like this where you look at the Atlanta game, you look at the New Orleans game, where we face what we look at, it's a struggling team with obvious flaws, and we go in expecting we should freaking dominate this team, right? We should beat the piss out of this team. And both of those games, we let up. We didn't even show up to the stadium, and we got our asses kicked. And that's been, unfortunately, a common trend with the Colts for the past several years. So you look at year 2 of, this core group that we have now, you want to see that growth. You want to see, hey, you can go into a stadium with a team that is 100% inferior to you, 100% you should be better than, in this case, because they don't have their starting quarterback, and you should dominate that game. You should blow them out of the water. So this will really be a good measuring stick for the Colts to be like, are we capable of doing that, or are we still in the era where we just play to the level of our opponents and we accept freaking inferior teams putting up numbers on us? So that's going to be something to watch for tomorrow, man. I completely agree with everything you said. We should dominate this game. There's no reason we shouldn't. But in years prior, we haven't done that in games where we should be doing that. So this will be a real key moment, I think, for our young team.
Yeah, man. It's crazy just because everything that we sit here and say about the matchup, how we should win. Zach, when you made your point, I didn't know if you said a good matchup and you meant before or after the Love injury or not.
I feel like even with Jordan Love, I feel like the Colts.
But it's a lot closer.
Really, right. Yo, Jordan Love, this game goes on to overtime. Whoever has the ball last wins.
Probably so.
But without Jordan Love, I still think, he's the key that makes this offense go. So
yeah, absolutely, and that's why I asked, just because I think the opposite. I think we aren't a good matchup when Jordan Love is healthy. But I like that there's differencing in opinion there, just so we can kind of see where it kind of breaks off. Because I think we both believe pretty much the same as far as this team goes, of where they have their talent and what they would do. But I totally believe the Colts to Indianapolis Colts this game up. I just got a feeling that they're just going to give us the cardiac Colts. They're going to make us all sit here and panic over absolutely nothing. So I know that you said, Zach, that this should be like a dominating 37-3, 30-3 or something. Me personally, I don't give a damn about the score. Just win the game. I know because I'm already know. I don't even want to put myself into that mode where I'm hoping for or thinking that we should have a big win.
Because I think
we should have a big win. I think we should. But I just know what the Colts do to us every single Sunday. I just want us to get the win. I don't care if we win 11-9. I do not care.
3-2, dude.
Man, I do not care what the scoreboard says. Just get the win. Let's go 1-1, and we can fix the rest later. Like I'm just telling y'all right now. I do not want them to come into the chat tomorrow, and we're like, damn, we got a fumble on kick return. Damn, we just got a fumble on a punt return. Damn, this motherfucker just dropped the ball. AR threw a pick now because it done popped up off somebody's hands. Next thing you know, we're down 10-7 because of fucking 4 miscues, bro. Like I don't want to.
We got to be sharp tomorrow.
I just want to win the game. I don't care what the score is because I know they will do this to us. But with that being said, I do expect the Colts to dominate. I'm just telling Colts fans now. Fuck the score. We just want the win. That's what'll matter at the end of the year is the record. We want that W in there. Do not let happen versus Cincinnati last year happen.
Yeah. Another game, right? Another game where we're going expecting to win because of injuries and what have you, and we just hold it up like you said, man. So this is why it's like a measuring stick moment for me to see if we've grown out of that in year 2 of this core group. Like, can we get away from just fucking going into games we should win and just shooting ourselves in the foot? That's one of the things the Colts do best, man. So once again, here we are with the game.
Over the years, we've made more backups look like they should be measured for goal jack-up. Like,
and that's the only reason we can't sit here and say, yeah, it's 100% a win. You don't even got to watch the game. We can't say that. We are the Cardiac Colts. We know it. We've seen it for years. We still expect to win. We still expect to kick this team's ass, but good God, man, you didn't tell a single lie, dude. We've done it too many times.
That's why I appreciate Zach put that score out there because I'm not far off with what he said.
That is what it should be. That is what it should be.
The Colts just put us on this roller coaster every Sunday, so I'm hoping that it could be like the game versus the Steelers and not the game versus the Bengals.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
That being said, where are we at with score predictions? I know personally, I have the Colts winning. I have a 28-17, I'd say. I think Josh Jacobs does have a decent game against us. I don't think he does as well as Joe Mixon. I think Malik Willis finds Jaden Reed or finds someone for a big, it hits him on a drag route and Jaden Reed takes it off for a big breakaway or something like that. I could see that happening, right? So I think they get a little bit of offense against us, but ultimately I think we take this game away in the second half and we win 28-17. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Zach, I won't put your score out there, but me and Zach and Damon, we already did our record prediction for the full season. So I had Damon's here. He had us getting the W. Didn't have a score from him. I actually had us losing this week
because of Love.
Start out the season 1-1, but without Love, it looks like we're going to still end up. I think we should end up being 1-1 either way. And then Zach also differed from me as well. He gave us the W. But I would have had if I gave a score. Like, I don't care about the score. I don't. I just want to win. But if I put a number on it, I think I would also go 28, as Trev said, to 9. I think it would be 3 field goals that we would give up. I think that's
take that.
That's what I believe we should be able to do.
I got 31-12 in Indianapolis.
You got 4 field goals?
Yeah, I give them 4 field goals.
Yeah.
And 2 of those field goals, I think the Colts will fumble and put it and be miscues. It'll be 1 fumble from Indianapolis or a pick, and it'll be in, their Green Bay territory. Defense will come out there, stop it. One of those free, cheesy, early field goals that the Colts always do.
Sure.
And then I just fully expect more of what we saw last week. A cleaner game from AR.
Explosive.
We're just gonna
better run game.
We're gonna chuck it deep, and we're gonna beat you up over the middle. Good luck stopping it. And
now what? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Trev. I was done.
Well, yeah. What we cannot have happen, right, is if we have those early miscues, somewhat like we had last week, where AR had a couple misses and shit. We cannot afford to just have 3 and outs and punts and give Malik Willis time to try to get comfortable in this game. Because at the end of the day, the guy is still an NFL quarterback, whether I think he deserves to be or not. And the rest of this offense is absolutely an NFL offense. So you give them enough time. I mean, even a blind squirrel can find a nut, right? Like they will find something eventually if you constantly let them take the field. So what our offense cannot afford to do is go 3 and out, punt the ball, fumble, interception. Like this needs to be a game where we dominate the possession and have
Just
them
do not let
forcing 3 and outs.
Just do not let him and Josh Jacobs run rabbit all over the field. Contain the edges. Keep him in the pocket. He has a big arm, so don't let the deep shots, kind of, have their way because they do got a lot of good 50-50 receivers over there. So don't want to let them have those chances. But again, I mean, I like Trev said, just because we say that, it's Malik Willis, and I do want to take everybody should know, like, I'm not just being some biased Colts fans. I had us losing if Jordan Love is playing. I do not believe we should lose to Malik Willis. So,
shouldn't.
Like I said, if we lose to Malik Willis, everybody on defense,
we have issues.
Everybody in the front office, all y'all can go. Only people that's saying that's from the defensive side of the ball is Latu and Buckner. Everybody else, and I mean building, front office.
He's getting old now.
I mean, if you want to, I'm cool with it. I wouldn't even care, bro.
They all gotta go. Yeah,
Latu is the only person that I'm really saying. I end up adding Buckner just because I think Buckner has done a lot for us, and we've put him through hell through all these losing seasons that we've just wasted his body on. But like I said,
dude, and just in addition. Yeah, just in addition to that as well, this is a game that should 100% favor Gus Bradley's scheme, right? Like the only real threat Malik Willis can give to you as a passer is he's got a big arm, so he can chuck it deep. Okay, cool. We're in zone coverage. We already have guys deep. That should play to Gus's strengths. They have a suspect O-line. We shouldn't have to blitz. We can just rush forward and probably get pressure. Okay, that plays to Gus Bradley's strengths. Like everything that they can possibly do to us, this should be a Gus Bradley masterpiece. There is no excuse. Zero excuse for anyone on the defensive side.
Nathan comes in swinging bullets. Damn, I'm sorry. I lost my composure to Marco.
No, you're good. Dude, I started laughing too. I thought I was gonna make it through the show without any Gators harassment.
Oh, you're not safe.
I thought I was gonna make it through, but yeah, no, we are trash, Nathan. I have no argument. we stink. I'm already actually, as a matter of fact. I'm already on that mode. Everybody from the Gators can go. Like I was just telling Trev and Zach, like I would hope to keep Lagway, but I don't give a damn. Everybody can go. Every player, every coach, Scott Strickland, the AD, everybody can get the fuck out from the Gators. But yeah, that's another story.
All right, gentlemen, hop off here. I gotta go take care of some stuff.
No problem. Appreciate you, Zach.
Godspeed, bro. Go Colts.
See you tomorrow. I'm sure I'll be cranky if we lose.
I might FaceTime y'all if we lose, bro.
It's gonna be a skit. Let's not even entertain the thought, bro.
I mean, I'm not. I'm planning on celebrating the win, but just in case. But appreciate you, Zach.
Better guys.
Appreciate you. So yeah, man. Just like Trev was saying, I think all of this fits in our favor to be a team that should be able to dominate this game. Be able to, pretty much just have a game where you don't necessarily have to do too much of anything on defense. You should be able to rush with 4, get off the field.
Play your scheme. Yeah.
Exactly. Play your scheme. Our offense should still look explosive. Our running game should look a little bit better. I think we've seen that AR has been pretty smart with the football, so I don't think he'll take any unnecessary shots or deep balls. I think overall, we should get what we want out of this and just get a win.
Here's hoping, man. Here's hoping. Otherwise, we have some serious issues this year.
David's saying here, every team I follow gives the cardiac arrest. The Colts and the Cronulla Sharks in Australia Rugby League, very much in the same terms, close to heartbreaking. Same thing for me, Dave. It's the Gators. It's the Colts.
It's my LSU Tigers barely winning.
It's my Lakers. Like, literally everybody, dog. Everybody.
Just can't have a dominating win, bro.
You need to keep Willis from the pit, keep Willis in the pit so he can't run. That too, exactly. Downs is back. Need to hope him and AR ball out. Nathan saying here also Law 2 is finally starting. Actually, that was something that I meant to bring up. Forgot to bring that up. Don't know if you got to get out of here too soon, Trev. Yeah, I had what was it? So Josh Downs, we should get him back. I believe he was finally a full participant in practice on Friday, which looks like he's in order to play. And then I didn't want to say that Kwity ended up on the injury report, so he could potentially be out with a hamstring. Not too sure, which would leave him and Tyquan Lewis as the starters. And I know some people panicked over it and whatnot, but I'm like, I'm ready. I've been waiting for Latu to get a lot of these snaps. So.
And this is a good game too. It's like we've highlighted. They don't have a offensive line that blows you away. They're kind of average, right? Elton Jennings is obviously a really good left guard, but beyond that, they don't have anything that really blows you away right now. As far as the offensive line goes, so this should be a game where you can kind of give Latu the majority of snaps and see what he's got. Let him really push himself. So yeah, I'd love for him to obviously get the start and then play the majority of snaps. Keep him in on third down, whatever you got to do. But I want to see a lot of Latu tomorrow.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I think overall that'll kind of hit it for us. I think we got to everything there. Nathan had one last question here. We'll get to this one last one, and then we're going to wrap it up for you guys tonight. But Nathan was saying here, he also says Matt Gay is back. What was wrong with the linebacking core last week, man? I'm going to tell you right now, I hold those guys to a little bit of a different standard just because I know EJ and Speed talk a lot. So just because of that, I thought it was something that I expected to see much better. I think it was just kind of one of those things where they weren't expecting for the linebackers to just be getting – or themselves to be getting hit at the second level as if they were. The Texans kind of handled us in the run game. Our defensive line was getting pushed around silly. And the offensive linemen were getting up to the second level, and they were just handling our backers. So I think that's why our linebacking core struggled. I think this week our defensive line, our front seven, our linebackers, I think they'll take last week personal, and they should bounce back this week.
Yeah, and Nathan, what we were talking about earlier was I really think it was just kind of week one scaries, man. Just maybe a little bit of rust, it's kind of an outlier. It's not something we expect to happen all the time. If you go back and watch that game, though, what they did really well was counter our pressure. We would collapse on them really hard, and then they'd shoot up the middle because we've already closed the edges around them, right? So they did a really good job of being patient, waiting for the pressure to come because we were getting it damn near every play, and then really using it against us because now we're out of position. And then it kind of left Zaire and EJ on an island. And I think that caught them by surprise. I don't think they were ready for that kind of game. So, man, it was an ugly week for the linebackers for sure. As of right now, I don't think it's something to be worried about. I think it was, like I said, week one scaries. I fully expect them to look a lot better against Josh Jacobs tomorrow. But, yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things.
Absolutely, man. So that'll do it for us tonight. Like I said, appreciate my guy, Zach, who came on. He had to get out of here early. Damon has some stuff going on. Matt still pretty busy right now. And then Trev is back. I think he's pretty set for now. He should be sticking with me. But yeah, man, appreciate everybody who came through. A couple new viewers and everything. Appreciate everybody on Twitter, throughout Facebook. Please hit that like, subscribe button. We are on YouTube, Spotify, all platforms. Go check us out. Let's get the Colts rocking. Get a Colts dub. Let's get on that win column for the year, man. Let's get
be right back here next week too to celebrate the win.
Yes, sir. And as always, go Colts.
Go Colts.
Second down, he fakes the Taylor, fires over the middle, completes. Pittman.